Here we go again. Red Hill Racing Podcast is back. This should be episode 2, season 2, right?
Y'all miss us. How do you like
Yeah,
our logos? How do you guys like this? Do you like our beautiful little logos? If
we're
you're watching and not listening.
we're trying to step the game up. Season 2 is back. Yeah, did you miss us? We took a
Didn't you?
week off. This is a new
Yeah.
schedule. Every other week until we get ranting and rambling, which
Or we lose our
might be
mind
next
and just
week.
have to tell y'all something. And
Yeah.
do you
Yeah.
notice anything different above us? Do you see something that's new or see things that's new?
Yeah.
New things happening.
If you're listening and not watching, go back to our YouTube when you get some time and take a look. We got to welcome the 2024 sponsors so far. We got one or two spots left, so there's still time, but we got to welcome our 2024 sponsors. Okay. You want me to get it going, Dustin, or you want to?
I mean,
Technically, you can
if
read them off yourself now.
yeah, I mean, if you're listening, guys, we'll start out
We'll
with,
let Dustin do this first time ever. This is
yeah,
like,
so I could see them. I don't have to have a
yeah,
spreadsheet.
exactly. You go ahead.
So of course, University will win, and then
They
myself and Hard,
renewed. They renewed.
yeah,
Both of
and
them
Hard
renewed
Times Parts
somehow.
and Service, they renewed, and I'm going to continue with her renewals because we're thankful for them
Oh,
for
100%.
gambling with us last year. So we have Penske Racing Shocks, MPS, we have MTC Engineering, Worldwide Bearings, Snitz Racing. The new ones, I think that's all the old ones, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The new ones we have for 2024 is Brock's Performance, BST Wheels Together,
Yep.
and DME Racing. Y'all know me. I'm always
Team
talking about
DME.
DME for life. And um we have some very, very huge, I'm talking $15,000
Yeah.
worth, maybe more, of giveaways. Now, what does that mean?
Yeah. So, as
That means
Dustin
there's going to
just
be some
alluded to, yeah,
changes.
there's some changes coming. But it's for the better, we think.
Before
So,
you go on, I
go
do want to
ahead.
make sure people know that in this day and time, and you'll learn more about this in a little bit, um, it's easier for a business to give product, correct? Than they can just shell out cash, right? We're not looking for a lot, but we got a huge offering of product. So we're going to help you all out. And there's going to be probably over $15,000 of things to give away.
Yeah.
Now, Ben can continue on with the, hey, new year, new me.
Yeah, right. So yeah, basically give it probably next episode, but here in the next 2 to 4 weeks, we are going to announce our what we would call our new subscription program. So we're finalizing the details, so don't panic, but uh, as Dustin alluded to, I mean, we have welcomed back some amazing sponsors from our first season. We've welcomed some new sponsors, and we're not done. There, like we said, there's basically one or two more that we're probably going to bring on. We're not going to overload it, but anyhow, long story short, we've already gathered about 12, $13,000 in giveaways. Okay. And last year was phenomenal. We had a bunch of great giveaways. We had uh pretty much almost every other episode or every episode gift certificates to MPS, Schnitz Racing, and MTC. So those were great. Then we had carbon fiber tank shell from BMF. We had the frame short neck from Kevin Manchester, Manchester Mines. Um, Energy coil Val, he provided a $700 set of
What
ignition coils.
did you mention
And
the shock?
oh, I'm getting there. I'm getting
Oh,
there.
okay.
And then Penske Racing shocks.
All
The
right.
last thing we did was give away a shock. So we had some great giveaways last year. We were ecstatic. We thank everybody that supported us with their subscriptions and their $1 to $10 donations, whatever it was. It was cool to reward those members because it really did help. It helped just pay the subscription costs of the software and blah, 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 blah. But we have gathered so many amazing giveaways already, and we're not even going to tease you on them because they're freaking great. By the way, not safe for work because I wanted to say they're
I
amazing.
was,
Quit pointing at stuff. Shoo, I'm trying to hit you through the screen. Stop. Anyways,
oh, wait, right here's one.
we got such good giveaways. that we 100% had to change how we're doing. So we're pretty set in it, and we'll give you a little bit of detail. We're probably gonna ditch the original subscription program, but there will be a limited, and we're serious, it'll be a limited cap number of subscriptions available at obviously a much higher price than $1. But the reason is that one, you're going to get a one of a kind t-shirt that has, the Red Hill Racing logo and whatever else we come up with and our sponsor logos. You're going to get a koozie because I mean Darnell likes to party and you got to have a nice Red Hill Racing koozie and probably some other stuff with your sign up of the subscription. But why you're really going to sign up for this subscription is because you will be one of the select few that gets entered in all these giveaways. And like we said, we estimate it'll probably be around $15,000 in giveaways when it's said and done. So just stay tuned.
You can
If
always listen for free. We
Yeah,
this
yeah,
this is a free listening deal. We just accepted subscriptions to help us, you know.
yeah.
So now we have really awesome stuff that I mean I'm busting at the seam to tell you, but it needs to wait. And there's really cool things happening, and we got to make sure that we get something because we're not going to have the subscriptions. So we got to okay, we're going to give them a bundle. So you're actually buying merch and cool stuff, and then you're just going to get in for free,
Yep.
basically.
So stay tuned for that. That's coming up soon. We'll do a big hoo-ha and announce that, and then we'll let you know all the prizes that are going to be available to win. It'll basically be, we'll kick it off by giving thanks to all our current slash old subscribers when we, kind of turn that off. So there'll be some giveaways to the um the OGs, and then y'all better be at your computers and sign up because, like we said, there's going to be limited spots, and you don't want to miss out.
I think it's
I
going to
think it
feel
is
really
too.
fast, and I mean, I hope so, just because it's what it's going to take for
Yeah.
us to for this to work, you know.
Well,
But
that and what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to do so much more. And Dustin and I have some cool ideas and thoughts that we're gonna make them happen this year. So there's going to be some
can I tease
extra
that?
content. Yeah, go
Uh,
ahead, tell them a little bit.
So it's not guaranteed, but myself and Ben, we talk all the time. We've talked about all these awesome people that support us, of me and him traveling there and doing like a tour so you guys can see, these awesome places, and just like little interviews and maybe do a podcast there.
Yeah.
Um, we're we want to get you more information. We want to give you information of the awesome people that support the podcast and us and drag racing and everything we do and we all love. So we have big plans. We're going to give it all we got to try. Yes, we're just two men. We're going to do the best we can. We're both busy. Ben's probably busier than me. I'm still really busy. There's a lot of things happening,
I'm
but
a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest right now, but I
yeah,
refuse to quit, and we are going to kick some ass with that one leg.
yeah.
So yeah, stay tuned. As Dustin said though, like we really are going to do some cool shit this year. And it's going to be a lot more content and different content too. Dustin and I are going to be doing some garage content here soon. It might not be groundbreaking or earth-shattering, but it'll just be some inside look, and hopefully we all can take something from it. But
Maybe I'll fall down the garage and give somebody laugh about something.
yeah,
Who
live,
knows?
live, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I
exactly.
mean, things happen, right? We're all human. We're not perfect. Obviously, we're redneck and a hillbilly,
That's
but
right.
we are pushing to make this awesome. I think we are honestly really leading a pack because there is a lot of new things that we've been seeing, and me and
We're
Ben just chuckle
trendsetters. We're trendsetters.
because we're not sheep, and Ben had a great idea. I'm here because Ben had a great idea, and I knew that it would be easier for Ben to have me here.
I couldn't do it
And
without you, brother, for sure.
we
Because
learned this
because we
all the
tried this.
time.
We tried this. Tell them about the intro last year. This
Yeah,
time, well, give or
I
take two
made it
weeks
so much
ago.
easier
Oh my
just being
gosh.
here. And to be honest, tonight's interviewee was kind of, a little hesitant about it because he didn't know how it was going to work. And then when we got in here, dude, we rambled on like it was just awesome and how great it did. I mean, of course, this person's handles interviews, but it
Yeah.
just sometimes people will think about an interview on a podcast, and some of them are old school and they're like, "What? Like, how am I going to do this?" And to be honest, just being around the right people makes it very easy. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we'll have an interview one day with like a listener, just a random person. Like,
Well, they're not going to be random because they're going to be our loyal listeners
well, I
who we
mean, yeah, but you
love
know what I mean?
dearly.
Like not like a business owner or a product, person that can describe a product, just like a racer.
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
le- I know we've had racers like, pro street racers and this and that. I'm talking about like me and you, like good old bracket racer.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
we
down.
need to get it would be cool. And we're just trying to make this stuff great. And do you want to tell them who the
They already
I mean
know,
they're
remember? We
gonna
forgot.
know.
Yeah, we forgot. That's
Yeah.
the Tiffany effect. That's the Tiffany effect. We can't tease it because they already know. So let's get them what they want to hear. The
YouTubers do that though too, though. Whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So not safe for work. We got we
For
got
sure.
we got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Brock Davidson. We got him worked up a couple times. We got excited. I mean, y'all know that we can't keep our mouth PG, or I
I,
can't.
I I just want to explain to y'all something, and I say it in the conversation with Brock. Did you say his name?
Yeah, I already said it.
Okay.
They know.
Anyway,
Brock's coming on here
all right,
shortly
cool.
in the next two
Um,
minutes.
I personally watch Brock's YouTube channel. I am a connoisseur of more information and learning something. And tonight you're going to learn something from a different angle than we've ever talked about. We're going to, Brock's going to talk about sponsorships from the business side. Now, me and Ben
Yeah.
kind of know the business side, right? Ben used to work for Brock, and that was his job there. So obviously he knows about it. But you're getting it from the business owner himself. We didn't only talk about that, of course. We rambled like we do. That's how we roll.
Yeah, yeah, no, this is as Dustin said, this is a not only do we get to talk with Brock, who, he's a legend, right? And he's built an amazing company and business. You know, around the sport we love, and it's morphed quite a bit recently, but it's been one of those one of the companies that you just know when you get into this sport. So, anyways, we're super excited. But yeah, he shared. We could have talked about any number of things, but the majority focus of this interview with Brock is just really kind of diving headfirst into sponsorship. So if that's of interest to you, enjoy. If it's not, there's plenty of other good stuff in here. And look, we're telling you, Brock shared some details that
It's going to
not a
break you guys.
lot of people would share. And we definitely aren't going to tease those because you have to listen to this. There is some great stuff happening, and I'll put it like this: back in the day when I was running sponsorships and stuff, there was hardly any way to measure whether a racer was making an impact. Like if you got a phone call or an email about, hey, so and so told me to call or order this, or I talked to them, like cool. But for the most part, my best metric for tracking sponsorships and return on investment was from dealers that asked for stuff that were racing. Whether it be HTP Racing and they needed something for their shop bikes, or I could see because I had their history and their sales history, and that was the best metric. Well, it's changed, and y'all know that. Y'all have seen it if you've been paying attention. You don't even have to be a good racer anymore. But if you can reach a lot of people, y'all are probably getting where we're going with it, then you can do some amazing things. So you're gonna want to listen to this, trust us. It's wild. It's wild. And then
Enjoy it. I
and
mean,
in
I'm still kind of
between,
like,
yeah.
whoa.
Yeah,
I mean,
Dustin was I kind of knew, but Dustin was in shock for sure. We
I was
shocked
just like
Dustin.
y'all. When this
Yeah.
news come to me, I was like, and I
Yeah.
was the lucky one that got to read it. And I had to like
Uh-huh.
read it in my head before I said it, like, am I seeing that right? It's awesome. Like
It
this was
was
a really good
shocking.
show.
Yeah, it's awesome. And like we said, there's other stuff in there. I mean, aside from that, my favorite is the ending because we asked Brock some basically what his favorite products he's ever thought of and designed were. And that was pretty cool. That was probably a solid 15, 20 minutes there describing
And
two different products that really changed his company.
and being a YouTube listener, I knew those two items because he's talked about it. Like if
Yeah.
people would, I mean,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
informed from him, like if you guys haven't, I said it in the recording too. Check out Brock Performance's YouTube channel. You'll learn something. He spends a lot of money, as we talked about in the episode here.
Yeah, there's all
Um,
kinds of mind-bending info in
yeah,
this.
spends a lot of money to even put up a YouTube video because people's got to get paid, and nothing's free. So
Yeah.
watch it.
All right. One more time, we got to shout out these new sponsors
You
and
got it this
some of
time.
our renewals. So, of course, we got University of Wind, Hard Times Parts and Service, Schnitz Racing, MTC Engineering, Penske Racing Shocks, MPS Racing, Worldwide Bearings, BST Wheels, Brock's Performance, DME Racing. And we, like we said, we got one or two that are close to closing. And if you really, really need to be on the show as a sponsor, reach out to us. And we'll see if we can make it work. All right. Without farther ado, we got the man, the myth, the legend, the first man into the sevens on a street bike, right?
Santa Claus. Oh no, never mind.
Oh, right? Did I
You'll
say that
you'll see
right?
what I'm talking. Yeah,
But
he was.
yeah.
Yeah,
And he also
1998.
blew his hand off. Remember that when he lost
Oh
his
yeah,
hand?
that's
Yeah.
what the internet said. So it has to
Yeah.
be true.
Well, I believe it. I think
Yeah,
it grew back. That's like an iguana's tail, right?
yeah,
All right,
yeah.
y'all. Enjoy this one. It was
It's
awesome.
awesome.
Yep. All right.
See
See
y'all.
y'all. All right, here he is. Welcome to Red Hill Racing Podcast. We have the esteemed Brock Davidson joining me and Dustin tonight. How you doing, Brock?
I'm good, but you all got to get used to my wintertime look here in Ohio. It's cold,
Got to
and
stay warm.
there'll be people going, "Well, who the hell? Who? I've seen all his videos. He doesn't look like that. What the hell's going on?"
So, real quick, funny story. Not going into all the details, but obviously, I stopped by and seen Mr. Brock last week. I was traveling through, and I met him in the beautiful Rhonda for dinner, and somehow, some way, I ended up at the wrong restaurant at first. There's a couple of them, and I went to the wrong one, and they're like, we're at the the high top bar." So I'm walking in, and I seen a bald guy, and but then I seen gray, and I was like, "Oh, that's not him." So I walked around. Anyways, I was at the wrong place. But then when I got to the right place, I'm like, "Holy crap, that beard is gray! I've never seen that before." So I had to get
Brock
used to it too.
Brock said it's hunting season. He got to stay warm.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, for sure. So we're very lucky to get some of your time. We know how valuable your time is, and we appreciate you joining up for the podcast tonight. And just looking forward to getting into some topics with you. I know you got some stuff top of mind that you wanted to discuss. So I mean, if you just want to dive right into it, we can get down and dirty.
Well, thanks for having me, Ben. Dustin, it's very rare that I can find the time to do this, but you happen to catch me in a really good time. We don't really have an off season anymore, but we're getting organized and we're to the point where um, my staff takes care of so much now that I've got a little freedom to do things like this and try and enjoy life a little bit, have some fun. So appreciate you having me. And when we were talking over dinner, you had mentioned, hey, what do you want to talk about? And I
Yeah,
know
yeah.
you had touched on, I said, well, what about sponsorship? And you said, well, and you had just done something. Was it with Rodney or what was it? Who was it that you were talking about? Do you even need sponsorship? I didn't get it. I didn't catch that episode.
Um, I mean, we've talked with so many people, but yeah, we
We
just
went over that a
interviewed.
few times.
Yeah, we just last person we interviewed was Rodney Williford. But no, I think what I was telling you, Brock,
He's a
is that
bad
in
man, by the way. 100% props to Rodney.
Yes.
yes, agreed,
On top.
100%. I think what I was probably talking with you about, Brock, is just that Dustin and I have the University of Wynn school now, where we're kind of educating members on bracket and index racing and how to excel
Okay.
at that. But we recently, towards the end of last year, because that's quote unquote normally sponsor season, we went over that in depth. We had some interviews, and Dustin and I took some time. So I think that's probably what I was referencing in that, hey, we were teaching our school members what we knew and then how things have changed. And obviously they've changed, from even back when I worked for you at Brock's. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's a totally different world from back then, and honestly, Yeah, we're all getting a little old, and I got plenty of gray over here too. But I mean, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago. But man, as technology, I guess, gets better and things change, it changes quick.
It's changing rapidly, and the way, from a, and I'm only going to speak from a Brock's Performance standpoint. We'll
Sure.
try a little bit of general stuff, but as far as Brock's Performance is concerned, the way we decide who we're going to sponsor, the level of that sponsorship, do we continue the sponsorship season after season? It all comes together now in an entirely different manner than it did even 5 years ago. So that's
Right.
some of the stuff I wanted to touch on, and if you guys have talked about sponsorship, the real question is, do you need it? And if
Right.
you think you do, what do you do? How do you obtain it? What are the steps? How do you even go about it? So
One of the biggest things people don't realize about sponsorships is if you do have a partnership, you got to do a lot of work. Like it's not just give me and then that's it. Like you got to
Yeah.
have a return on the investment for the company that you're helping. Make sure that they're proud to have you. Maybe turn on some wind lights. That helps, but not always the case, But they don't realize how much work it is
and
keeping up with
Dustin,
all that stuff.
you're absolutely right. And what I tried to do, just to try and keep it sort of simple, because we could probably go on all evening about this,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I sort of broke it down into what I would consider the three rules that if you do decide to go the sponsorship route, what are the three rules to live by according to Brock? So
Right. Right. Right.
basically, and we'll touch on all three of these, before the end of the night. But number one, and is racing is a hobby. Sorry, guys, I hate to say, because I know y'all take this stuff really, really seriously sometimes, and there's reason for it. We'll get into that in more detail too.
Hold
The
on,
other
hold
thing
on. Can
is,
you say that one more time? Because this is coming from the man, Brock
it
Davidson.
it
Listen
is a
closely.
hobby. I'm not kidding, and I'm gonna tell some stories, because I was sponsored by American Suzuki back in the day, and who the hell am I? Why would they pick me? So we'll talk about some stuff. The other one is, if you do want to get in the sponsorship game, you really need to know your worth. What? Okay, you're the local fast guy. That's awesome. I got world champions on speed dial. Why would I give you money when I have them?
Amen.
You right?
Woo, I love
But
it. That made me all
and
tingly.
Dustin, you touched on a really good point too. Is winning everything? No.
It's really not the biggest
You can
part of
win
it.
every race and be an asshole. You're not getting our logo. You're not gonna get. We're not gonna deal with you. That's not what Brock's Performance is about. So we'll discuss that too. And then the last thing, and for sure, what you mentioned there, sponsorship turns your hobby into a business.
Correct.
Yes.
It really is. You are asking a company for blank. So what are you going to give them in return? How are you going to pay them back? There are plenty of guys who ask for free stuff. They get free stuff and they're happy. Well, guess what? You're not going to get any more free stuff. And another thing is, as your career progresses, us guys in the industry, we talk. If you
Yes. Yes.
and
Yes.
and
Yes.
and there's so
And it's not that it's not like huge either, right? Like we know most
oh yeah.
everybody. We're not in some like industry where, there's 5,000 different businesses and nobody, like we all know each other.
Listen, we all like free stuff. We're all big kids at heart. We open up the damn cereal box, dump it out, and get the toy. But
Yeah.
but the reality is we're big kids now. So if we're going to ask for something, we need to be able to. We need to be, first of all, we need to ask for something that is proportionate to our abilities,
It's got to
and
make sense.
yeah, it has to be proportionate to our abilities, and we have to know exactly what we want in return for what we can give that company.
Oh, I'm having bad flashbacks. Oh Lord.
Oh man, right, right.
Man.
So anyway, if
Those
if you guys want to go ahead, we'll dive into racing. racing is a hobby, and I've used this analogy a bunch of times, right? We've had people that have asked for, and so we used to have an online form, a sponsorship form. We took it offline because, believe it or not, everyone and their effing dog wants a free set of carbon fiber wheels. Right?
They not realizing that you got to buy them. Like,
Yeah,
like you're making
they
them.
don't. They have no idea. I swear, some people think we just have a big old pile of money and a big old pile of wheels, and we'll just give them away. No,
Yeah.
no, man. I gotta buy that. So I I take my wallet. I go to BST. I say, hey, I want to buy those, and I want to give them to this guy.
Yep.
Well,
That right there alone should make them so thankful, even if they did get opportunity to get something. Even if you opened your wallet to give them a set of lowering links, that's a big deal.
it is.
You know what I mean?
And considering it's a hobby, if you fly a kite as a hobby, and someone, gives you some string, far out.
Hell yeah.
Right?
You're flying, baby.
You're flying. And you didn't have to buy for it. Now, you may need to put a big B on a blue
Right.
B on the kite
Yeah.
if we send you the string, but it's
All right. You're making
tip for
kites.
tat.
You're selling kites next week. We're going to have Brock's kites to fly. All the kids will have them.
Every order over $5,000 gets a free Brock kite.
Hell yeah. I'm on.
Okay, we're good.
I'm ordering
Got it.
tomorrow. I
Yep.
want a kite for my kid.
So that really, I started thinking about it, and I said, what's the difference between a hobby and an obsession? Because I think
Right.
a lot of us have been there, and basically I came up with a hobby's a way to spend free time and relieve stress. An obsession is an extreme form of a hobby, but it can be unhealthy, and it can consume all your time and all of your money. Racers,
Yep.
do you hear me there?
It's a
Sounds
fine line
familiar.
right there you're
Yep.
flirting with.
And then if you take that one step further, which I will wholeheartedly admit where I was, it was an addiction,
Yeah.
right? It was, and basically addiction meaning um, the the activities you do on your free time, it takes up that time and it takes up your work time. It's all encompassing. You can't even if you're at work, okay, I'm working along, but I'm thinking about going racing, and I'm thinking about what I need to do to beat Dustin or Ben
Yeah.
or whoever else I've got to outrun. And it can really, really, really consume you. And I was there. I managed to break that addiction.
I think
I was
all
there.
three of us can raise our hand because at some point all three of us have been there.
Sometimes
Luckily,
you
I
gotta
think
go, hold up.
Yeah, I
step
think
back.
we're all recovering addicts now.
We
but
are, for sure.
Well, and in that same respect, and a lot of people might think this is a weird statement, but that basically means that all three of us have some form of ADD or ADHD, because instead of focusing on what we're supposed to do, our mind is going off somewhere else that is happier, which can turn into a real problem. But
Yep.
sort of like video games, some people, they can play a video game, they're good, they're done, they shut it off and they go do their day. Some people can't set that damn controller down. Some people won't leave the front of their TV. So
Yeah,
you
they
gotta
get that
figure
new
out where
game and they're
you are.
hooked. Yep.
So,
Yep. For sure.
when it comes to being a hobby, in 1998, I got sponsored by American Suzuki. It was called Team Suzuki Sports, and I had people at Brock. How'd you get sponsored by Suzuki? You know my answer? I asked them. Right? And back then, would companies hunt you down to be someone that they want to shower you with gifts and money? It was rare, but it did happen. These days, believe it or not, we do it more than we ever have, but we do it for a different reason, which I'll get to later.
Yeah.
But one of the things that my boss at Suzuki told me, he said, Brock, he said, there's no money in racing, but there is money in selling products as a result of your racing. And he said, we want you to go out, be a good person. When you're wearing that Suzuki jersey, you have got the microscope on you. You be a good person and try to win races or set records or do something that we can brag on you about, because that's why we have you doing this, because you're doing it on our motorcycles. So that helps us get a return on our investment for what we're helping you with. And that really stuck with me, because at the time I didn't have Brock's Performance. It didn't.
Right.
I mean, I had it. It was in my garage, and in my. But
I love those stories.
I had a full-time job, and I just couldn't do Brock's Performance. And he even told me, he said, "Listen, Brock," he said, "you're just Brock." He said, "You need to think about building a business around your talents." And he was absolutely right. And I don't want to go off in a history.
That
trip
was the
here.
best thing you ever heard in your whole life, right
It
there.
really
probably.
was. Because when I got into the sevens before everybody else, which was a really big deal at the time, there were a lot of us trying to do it, and a lot of big names and a lot of guys who were much better financed than I was, much better riders than I was, far better racers than I'm not a good racer. I could ride, I could go fast, but I snatched defeat from the jaws of victory more times than anybody else I knew.
They just wasn't as hungry. You wanted
when
it.
when I got into the sevens, well, all of a sudden it was like a light switch went off. My phone started ringing because people went, "Wow, you must know what you're doing. What do you make for my bike?" I said,
Yeah.
"Nothing, but what do you want? I can do anything." And I
Yeah.
believe that. I meant that. And
Yeah.
that was truly the beginning of Brock's Performance, and got me out of my main job and really starting to focus on Brock's Performance so I could benefit from those results. And it has helped me to this day.
That's exactly what everybody listening to this is going to want to hear. I think entrepreneur is a big word these days. There's a lot of them. I think, honestly, I think we might have too many because we need workers like regular ones. But
yeah, not wrong there either.
yeah, I mean, like, FedEx could need some drivers or whatever. But I really, that was this whole story of how it happens. That's how it happens. You got the passion, the want. You're working for the man, and finally you put it all in one boat, your boat, and you do everything you can to keep it from sinking.
Well, and I had people, and I ran Brock's Performance out of my garage. It was Brock Davidson Engineering or Brock Davidson whatever. And because I had a full-time job, I couldn't answer phones. I couldn't do technical stuff. So I would invent products that I went on my race bike, and then I would mass produce those products, and I would send them to Schnitz Racing. And for years and years, probably 15 years, they shrink wrapped them in Schnitz packaging, and they sold them out the door, and I got a check. And that's what I went racing with. It was like my real job paid my bills, and my Schnitz Racing money
paid for your racing.
Yeah, help pay for
that. Also leads back to everything requires work. You got to work.
It does. And there people would ask me, "Well, Brock, why don't you just start your own business?" I mean, I don't want to ruin a good hobby. Well,
yeah.
Listen, newsflash, I completely ruined a good hobby.
Yeah, especially when we look behind you, we see a Harley. Lord.
For the first 5 years I was in business, and I incorporated in 2002. I'm sorry, man, but I hated motorcycles. I really did.
I guarantee
because you get burnt out.
They're my passion, but trying to build the business and deal with my passion, oh my God, it was so stressful. Now that we are where we are, I mean, we're an international brand. We shipped to 120 different countries last year.
You got that structure.
Now, I wish I'd have done it sooner, but that's okay. I'll be around a while. We'll keep Brock's Performance going. So
that's right. We're gonna have to get you bracket racing or something. Give you something challenging.
So Dustin, the first time I had to put my brakes on to win,
you're out.
That was it. I was done. Nope. Nope. I would
That's the
even go.
exciting part.
I would go to our home track Kill Care to practice on a Saturday. I would enter. I would qualify or do my test passes on during the bracket race program. And so many times I told people that I was racing first round, it's like, listen, I got to go home. I don't want to be here. Just don't red light. I'm going to go out. The only reason I'm here is to go run my quickest pass ever. Hopefully I'll break out. Just don't screw it up. I won so many races because they screw it up. Like, no, man, really, I want to go home. I want to go watch Cops with my daughter on my lap. I don't want to be here all Saturday night. But anyway,
they thought
Hey,
you were
you got
playing
more
mind
seat
games.
time.
Oh yeah. That's the other thing. I'm not a natural athlete at all. So the way I had to learn was through repetition, and they'll tell you, okay, you're not a free throw shooter. I mean, if you're not an athlete, if you want to be a good free throw shooter, you better plan on shooting that ball about 10,000 times. I promise you, I got 10,000 time tickets.
Well, that's the thing. Like repetition and determination, you can be anything you want to be as long as you want it. You gotta want it.
And the biggest thing for me, Dustin, I would get so serious, man, the veins popping out of my head. And I just, like I said, I'd managed to figure out ways to lose until one day, my crew chief, Mark Hulsman, unfortunately, he passed away quite a while ago. But he's like, Brock, he says, when we're at Kill Care, you got a smile on your face. You're laughing. You're having fun. He's like, when we're come here, you're serious as a heart attack. He's like, have some fun.
Yeah.
That's our number one rule here is have fun.
As soon as he told me that, I went from looking over in the other lane and going, I'm going to beat you as hard as I can. You're in big trouble. I went, ha! If you only knew that's what you were fixing to take.
He sounded like Boo Brown.
Well, so if you guys don't mind, we'll slip into know your worth, right?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, all right, so you think you're fast, local hero, okay, that's great. But is that going to be enough for me to open up my wallet and buy you something? And it also boils down to, are you a good rider? Are you a good racer? And there's a big difference there. There are some guys that are super, super fast, man. And you look at them, wow, how did they go that fast? But when the pressure's on, they lose. They find a way to lose. That was me. The first race in the sevens, I had everybody covered. I fucked it up and lost.
It happens.
Right?
There's been race weekends where like, man, they ain't gonna be able to beat me this weekend. And the next daggum round, I choke it up. I'm like, oh man. But you know what? Those losses is what those mistakes keep you coming back. That's what drives addict, I guess you would say, because that's what we are.
And I've watched you win a bunch of races, Dustin. I've watched Ben. I could get myself in trouble for this one, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. Out of all the racers that have raced for us, we've had some really, really talented guys. There's one that sticks out in my mind. If you guys talk to Spencer Claycomb, you'll probably figure out who I'm talking about, who manages to win races he's supposed to lose. Somehow, some way, would win when all the odds were against him, when everything was stacked up against him. The dude found the winner's circle, and love him or hate him, man, it was Ricky Gadsden. That dude, it was so. We would go up to we were in Super Sport before, and I told my guys, like, y'all need to pack the trailer. We're leaving there. It's only the semi. Listen, I can do math in my head. I know what's about to happen here. And Rick, the problem with Ricky was when you raced against him was that when the pressure was really on,
he didn't make a mistake.
He got in the zone. And your job, if you were racing against him, was to realize, first of all, he's going to cut a perfect light. Second of all, he's going to run the quickest past the bike's ever gone. So all you got to do is beat that.
Go faster. Man.
Easy, right? Easy.
Good luck. And
Yeah.
we won several super sport championships with him. And don't get me wrong, I had some great riders, man. We've had Jeremy. How do you say anything negative about Jeremy or Keith Dennis or all these guys that are Richard Gatson, guys that are really good.
Oh
But
yeah.
when the chips were down, I got to give Ricky his props. He really did a great job. And
That's
I don't
also
know
a
how you,
beautiful thing about racing is anything can always happen. Like there's
it,
always a chance, like no
well,
matter
yeah,
what.
right. That's why we race. Otherwise,
Yeah.
Yeah.
everybody would know the fastest
Yeah.
guy wins, and let's go home. And
Yeah.
that's not how it works. But it was really something. So
Well,
back,
you also touched on something a few times already that, Dustin and I know, but I don't think a lot of people realize this is like you said, there's racers and there's riders, and there's
Mhm.
very few that are both.
Right.
I'm a racer. I'm not a great rider, as you reminded me at dinner,
Hey, yeah.
which I'd
Let's
forgot
talk
about
about my
that.
BMW bodywork bin.
Yeah. Christine totally forgot that. I done purged that one out of my brain, and Brock brought that up last weekend. But anyways, and I don't think not a lot of people realize that or discern the two, but very few are both. That's for
Right.
damn sure. I know
I
one thing.
can do those two, but I'm physically handicapped. I'm fat.
I will back Dustin up that he is obviously a great racer and is surprisingly, because everybody just looks at him and they're like, oh, he's a big guy, but he is a really good rider too. Whereas I'm a what I tried to say, I was an average rider, and you gave me that look last week, so maybe a slight below average rider.
Well, I tell you what, Dustin, I don't know if you know Joe Holt from Columbus, but
I do. Joe's a great guy.
he is a great guy and he is a big dude. And
Oh
I tell
yeah.
you what, he can ride as well as anyone. He's just big.
We
And it does
physically handicapped, man. We can't help it. Like
that's it. That's it.
the
Shit,
That's
taters
it.
win every time.
I've said it. We've talked about it quite a few times when we do our XDA recaps this past year, but it only makes sense to bring it up once again because I met the man through you, Brock, and I just remember the first time me and Brock were going to the track to test something, and he was like, "Yeah, I got a buddy of mine, Mike Davis. He's coming to ride," and I was like, "Who?" Because I'd never heard of the guy. And I'm like, here. Meanwhile, I'm a young kid still back then. And I'm like, what the can't believe you didn't ask me to ride it. Like what? Not even like that.
Not all offended.
I was so naive. I didn't even know at that point that I wasn't a rider. You know what I mean? I raced, but I didn't know I wasn't a rider. And then we go to the track and I meet Mike, and my first impression was like, this is a big dude. Like like why is he riding the bike? And I mean, everybody knows now, everybody knows Mike now, but damn, he's a hell of a rider.
He
A
is,
hell of
man.
a rider.
He is, and back to that handicap at 190 pounds, is he huge? No, but compared to a guy that's a buck 40,
Yep.
Oh man, if he was a buck 40, they'd be in trouble.
ugly,
Yep.
Mhm.
and
Because me and Mike's friends, and I give him a hard time all the time because it's what we do.
he's
But
fun.
if you
He's
can,
fun to give a hard time.
oh
to.
yeah, because he gets mad sometimes, but he is a really good rider.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if he was 20 pounds lighter, he would mop those guys up. Like
He would.
and honestly, he's don't look like he needs to lose weight. So it's kind of one of those things
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
starve
Yeah,
yourself to
where's
win.
he gonna where's it gonna go? I mean,
Right, right.
it's he done got one of these that I worked
Yeah.
on.
No, I mean, I wish I was his size. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I can look at something and probably gain weight. So, Mike is a great person. He actually hangs out with us at XDA races, and we always break bread and eat together and hang out. And definitely good people and a good rider. Even though I give him a hard time, and he listens to this. So there you go, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm giving you some love, buddy.
Yep.
I'm sure he appreciates it. He's well, and while we're on the subject, and Ben, I know Sonny Kirshner.
Oh yeah.
Dustin, I'm not sure if you know him. He got into muscle building and martial arts and stuff. But one of the things that Sonny also not a small guy, but one of the things that he could do, I could put him on a motorcycle that I was riding, and he would come back and he'd say, "Hey, Brock, you need to change this, you need to change that, you need to change that." And as I started fading away from the racing, I really relied on him a lot to help me. And once Sonny helped me mechanically with the setup, since I wasn't riding the bike myself to be able to feel it, man, I put one of those fast guys on there and the championships just came. We we were tough to beat in super sport for a long, long time.
That's something right there you just said that's valuable in a rider as well, is
Yeah.
they can come back and give you data. Like some people can come back and tell you everything in a run, and some people come back, well, I don't know what happened. They have no idea, you know.
Well, and some of the best riders will ride around the problem,
Yeah, yeah.
which
Yeah.
is awesome.
Or they can feel a problem coming before it is a problem, you
Well,
know.
if they ride around it, that's great. But then I didn't fix it. If I could
Yeah.
fix it so they could concentrate more on what they need to do, it just
Yeah.
it works out better that way when it comes to going really, really.
Oh yeah. I feel like in super stock, like if you can make it to second or third gear, you know, the number one rule after that is shift points and tucking. Like I
Yeah.
think the 1-2 shift is one of their hardest things. Me and Mike's talked about it, and like sometimes he'll plug second and they'll knock the tire off and it gets him, you know, because he's running all the air pressure because he is heavier and he needs it, you know, to try to go fast. And it's we get people all the time caught up in the bracket stuff. Like, oh, if you're a rider, you can do this. If you want to be a rider, go jump in super stock. That's where the real
Yeah.
OGs are, period. And then real street. And then after that,
that's
it
where
goes
the
away.
serious riders are. You know,
Oh yeah.
one of the things that would just blow everybody away, Keith Dennis, he's not going to get the best 60 foot, but he's going to beat you to the 330.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
because he could cut a lot and leave. That's the biggest
Exactly.
thing.
And he would pick up between the 60 foot and the 330, he'd put 700 or 800s on the rest of the field. It was great, but it's how he rode. And if you
Yeah.
watched how he rode, man, he really loved the bike. Michael Phillips is one of those guys too. You watch him ride a super sport bike, and I'm back. I'm talking. We're not in super stock yet.
Talk about the good old days.
The good old
Yeah.
days. But when those guys would leave, you just hear this. You know, they're
Yeah.
just loading the hell out of the bike, and once it shot forward, bam, just amazing, amazing times. We were going faster in 2005 than the super stock guys are going now. And we
Oh,
only
I
had
know.
172 horsepower. Now we did have different rules.
Right.
We were allowed to have ballast, which was huge until who was it? Marty Ladwick. He showed up in a race, a 600 race, and it looked like he took his bench press apart, put some threaded rod through the axle, and it had a couple plates on either side. And then finally they're like, no, we need to change.
It's got to be a respect part of the deal. Like you can do some stuff, but keep it cool, you know. And then along the technology changed, and then it become tungsten, you know, instead of those weights.
Well, as usual, the whole ADHD thing. We're going in a circle here. So it's back to the know your worth, right? And you got to remember that there are people out there that are more talented than you, but that's okay. You have to put a package together that makes a company want to help you out. It's business. At the end of the day, it's just straight up business. So the more professional you are, the more responsible you are, the more you watch. Suzuki sent me to a PR class back in 1999, and it was some of the best stuff that I ever learned. Number one, always look Suzuki. If you're out in public and if there's you are representing our brand. They taught us how to talk. They put a big, because back in the day, we were on ESPN, even AMA Drag Bike and Pro Star days. I mean, ESPN would cover us, and shit, what's the other one? I can't think of it. But they come up, put these giant cameras in your face. Well, you'd be in the middle of an interview at the PR thing, and they just have somebody walk behind you real slow, go like this.
Yeah, try and train.
Got to focus on the goal there.
You focus on that camera. You be and brand loyal, man. Listen. How many guys are pimping one product this year and another product next year and pimp something else the year before? That's another thing that is really a turnoff to a company, because as soon as somebody else comes along with a shinier product or more money, we know we're getting pushed by the wayside. So why even bother? Why even?
That's something I've told a lot of people that I work with for a long time, myself personally. It's like, I'm like an old dog. You'd have to run me off. Like, I'm not going anywhere. That's just the way I am, you know?
Yeah.
And it's still that way to this day.
Yeah.
Well, so the guys just need to keep that, they need to keep that mindset when they're thinking about
It's
sponsorship.
like a marriage.
It really is, but it's worse than that because we'll fire
Yeah.
your ass, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it
Talk about a
also,
divorce.
yeah, it also goes back to Brock, like what you were saying in respect to, the fact that, um, oh man, it just left me. Hold on. I had it right there.
Come on,
Oh no,
Darnell.
no, sorry. There we go. Yeah, Darnell. Yeah, exactly. I had a Darnell flashback. I
Get
know
out
they
of
called
there.
me late at night.
Yeah.
No, I got it back. It goes back to what you were saying, just about the fact that, oh man, y'all done made me lose it again. No, sorry. Industry. You got to focus, squirrel. It goes back to
ADHD.
the industry. Yeah. It's such a small industry that,
Yeah.
like, what you're talking about is like if somebody's jumping year to year, like we know that. And that's one of the ways we know. Sorry, that took way too long
Well,
to get out. I had a flashback from last week.
and what a lot of racers don't realize is there's a bit of a hit list. There are some
Yeah.
companies in the industry. If you screw them, if you steal a product, if you say, "Oh no, that was taken off my porch," guess what? We know it. The rest of the people in the industry know it, and you get put on that. Fuck no, we're not sending you anything list.
There's a do not sell list, and
Yeah,
there I have
we
that
have them.
list. Yep.
We have fired a bunch of customers over the year, and you don't want to do it, but you also don't want those people, especially representing you. That
Yeah.
absolutely not. So, anyway, that the segue there into dun dun dun. Sponsorship turns your hobby into a business. And I know we've been touching on it. But racers need to understand that if they ask for something, whether it be preferred pricing, discounted pricing, like the kite string, okay, you can
Right.
have it for free, but we'll sell it to you for half price. Listen, that is something. And the thing that they don't realize is that whether it's a discount, a free product, cash, which doesn't happen, well, it does, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
Too. Regardless of what it is, that comes off of the bottom line. If you're a business, that comes off of the bottom line. If I give you an exhaust for half price, that means I didn't sell an exhaust for full price, so I didn't put that money in my pocket.
Right.
You
Yeah.
invested in someone.
What's that?
You invested in someone, so it's an
Exactly.
investment.
It is, like you said, it's a partnership. It's like being married. It's really a big deal. And the higher that level goes, the more the responsibility increases for the racer to give some type of return on the investment. As a general rule, if Brock's Performance gives you a product, we're going to need to sell 3 to 5 of those products to break even.
Right.
Well, that's great, but we're not in the break even business. How am I supposed to pay my bills if I'm breaking even? You know what I mean?
Because it is a business.
It's a business. You
Yeah.
have to be able to do it. And we establish a sponsorship budget specifically for this. And Ben, I don't want your head to hurt here, but Ben was in charge of our sponsorship budget for a while. And it is really difficult because, okay, Ben, you've got X amount of dollars for the year. Now, if you spend all that in January, you get to deal with racer after racer after racer from February to December, hounding the shit out of you. And there's nothing you can do about it because just like a family, if you have a budget, you have to adhere to it. I'm not going to go borrow money to give you shit to have fun.
Exactly.
Doesn't
Or your
make any-
hobby.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lick of sense. So,
No. They
really,
should be thankful you even have that budget. You know what I mean?
exactly. And you see companies cutting budgets all the time. There are a lot of businesses in our industry that really don't sponsor anybody. They may like a race organization and they may sell products as a result of the race organization, but do they sponsor a class? Do they do do they do anything to help the organization? Because if the organization isn't there, guess what, guys? We don't have any place to race.
So you just now
Exactly.
you just now said me as my business. So I have people message me about sponsorship. Mike, don't do that. But I do sponsor the race series that you can go race at. And I help that series have you a place to race.
Yeah.
And I get them all the time. I'm like, man, to me, spending $10,000 a year on series sponsorship, a big deal. So I'm super proud that I can do that. And I hope they are too. And they are, most of them, but there's still some that wants more. You know how that
They
is.
don't, but they do they even get it?
They
Do
don't.
you,
I don't think so.
do
A
you
lot
get
of
your
people don't.
10,000 back?
Hell no,
No.
I do not. There's no way. Like some
Yeah.
series, you have to do it to sell stuff there. There's no way I profit what I pay them in a year. There's no way. But I feel like I'm helping the sport because the sport's what helps me, right? So you have to do the full circle deal always.
It's your passion. I'm the same way. I used to say, I've told people years and years and years, I'm a terrible businessman.
Yeah.
I make terrible decisions.
Yeah.
And in order to sort of curb that from me, I have people in place that I trust, and it's an odd number. And I'll say, hey guys, I think we need to do this. And they'll be like,
Go sit down, Brock. Go sit down.
we know you're the boss, and we know you're the t-shirt model and all that stuff. And your
Yeah.
name's on the sign, but oh hell no. And
Yeah.
I can override them. But I even
Yeah.
asked my wife not too long ago. I said it, and she's worked she's worked at Brock's Performance since 2005. I said, how many times have I overrode you or our vice president, Jeff Grieco, when we're in a meeting? And she says, once. I said, really? She goes, yeah, it was a long time ago, probably 2009, 2010, but it wasn't really a big deal. And me and Jeff went, just let him go have his fun. But otherwise, if it comes down to it, I didn't put them there to not
you gotta trust your team. It becomes a family. You know what I mean? Like you're putting your life in their hands, and you hope they do a good job, and you trust them.
And a lot of people don't realize that Brock's Performance, when I quit my job to go racing, they quit paying me. That'll get your attention, right? But Brock's Performance, really, honest to God, did not exist. We had to move the furniture boxes, and I would take every single order, every single phone call. I'd box every product. My ex-wife luckily had a UPS. They shipped UPS from her photography place. I would bring every package to the photography place and ship them out. And that's the way I did business for the first 2 or 3 years.
Don't you love America? That's what that screams.
It really is. And like I said, now, I mean, we've got 15 employees, but we're really, really efficient in what we do.
You are.
We've got this is our second location. I got a 1,600 square foot office now. It's beautiful. And
it looks like more toys to me.
Nobody even knows where this place is. We haven't told anybody. I haven't really told anybody it exists. You guys are the first. Well, I did a podcast for a gentleman in the Harley industry 2 weeks ago, and that was the first time anybody had even seen this place. But we grew to the point where we needed we didn't have enough room to put asses in seats. And so we have another location, and we are 100% internet mail order. So
something that you were talking about was being efficient at Brock's Performance. And I brag on your computer system for orders and the availability of parts to everyone. My wife works at a restaurant supply company. They have a warehouse. I'm like, you need to watch this video that you put on YouTube about your system. I'm like, it's amazing. They need that. Like, it's awesome.
And you know what that started with? When our vice president, he's the smartest man, one of the smartest men I've ever met. It's unbelievable. He works at Brock's Performance. He really is. But he's like, okay, what do you want to do? What do you want to do here? How do we want to set this up? And I said, well, and at the time we were 80% dealer, now 90% dealer. We didn't even have 10% retail. I said, our customers, our dealers only care about two things. Do you have it? And what's my cost? That's all they care about. So
we got to know it.
As you know, you get on brocksperformance.com, and I'm not pimping our our place or anything, but
Yeah.
the inventory is real time. If it says we've got one, nobody questions if we got one. Nobody opens the back door. Hey man, that's still on the shelf.
Like
We
your
got
video that you did, like if you go rob something off the shelf for a bike you're working on, you have to check it out. Like I love that whole video. See, I watched the
Oh
channel.
yeah.
I'm just saying, like,
man, I'm telling you, you could not believe the ass chewings that I've got from my rock.
yeah,
Customer was waiting on that for 6 months. We had a problem with his order. We're going to ship it together, and you stole it, and there's no more.
yeah. Oh man, let me call him.
I feel terrible. I don't want to. I don't want to do that to my customers. So
Yeah.
now, for real, I have to. I do know how to place my own order now. Generally, they're like, no, you just tell me what you want. They write
Yeah.
it down. They place the order. They take it out of inventory.
Yep.
They bring it to me. Oh,
Awesome.
awesome.
I sent them some beef jerky a while back, and they said they all loved it. I'm like, awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You got
we
to take care of the
appreciate that.
workers, man.
Oh, we got good guys too. And real quick, Dustin, hold on, hold that top.
He's running off on us.
That's a sweet car right there. What is that?
That is
Honda.
a 65 Impala.
Oh, okay. I knew it was something. I knew it was a Chevy of some sort.
It's beautiful. I was born in 65.
I got a thing for white cars, man. It does something to me.
Well, listen, that and like I said, I'm not trying to pimp our place, but our engineering team, when you were having problems with your oil pan baffles, we did a deep was like
I know. I wanted to figure it out.
we're
I was like, why does it do this?
How can one dude have multiple problems when we don't have any? We have what we call issue action reports. So if we have an issue, we document the issue, and then we take action on the issue, and we make sure that we incorporate that. We don't have any issue action reports on oil pan baffles. We've been selling them for years and years and years. They just work. So why is Dustin?
Yeah. Why is Dustin breaking them 2 years in a row? Like, what is going on?
Well,
I had to do some
look
clearance
here, and I think they told you about this, but these are your two trouble spots. So with the pickup you were running, and I'm not trying to badmouth anybody or anything, just simply the way it was designed, it was causing a little bit of pressure here. It was rubbing, and I know you can't see in the camera.
Yeah, the vibration. Actually, you can see it. The vibration was rubbing that spot.
It was rubbing it, but what it did is it pushed it down, and then one of the little pockets from your
on the casting,
your oil pan mounts, it was pressing yet again. If you can see the little shiny,
yep,
there,
yep.
It was pressing down on it, and it was causing it to vibrate in the engine and side loading, which caused it to fracture here. So we have. Obviously, we sent you some new ones. I told them, like, send them a damn. Did they send you a spare?
No, they sent me one, but we clearanced it this time, so we're good.
Okay. So now all of our instructions are going to have that as a point to look into, because if you have that particular combination, it could cause the problem. And I mean, it's not a big deal. It's still held together with the ones. Not
it did not have any issues. As soon as you pulled it apart, you're like, oh, okay, well, this is cool. You know,
hello, how are you?
That's another example. 10 years ago, this had been all me, nothing but, nobody else involved. And now we've got, we've got some really, really, really good people that give a damn, and they find little things like this, and we fix it. So we make sure it doesn't.
As a person that's in business and a dealer with you guys, I wanted to know, because if I had a customer have that issue, I could help them. That's part of it. And basically, it was the best person in the world for it to happen to was me, because I can go to you and we can figure it out. And we did. And now we have knowledge fixing the problem.
Great. Thank you.
So,
we got a bunch of customers that just would have went ahead and gone online and trashed us without even a phone call. Like,
you can't solve problems without problem solving. You know what I mean? So
keyboard warriors, they love to bring up issues nowadays.
Do we not have anything else better to do?
No, they wake up and they choose to try and ruin someone's business for no reason, even if they're business owners.
I could go on. We could make that our next podcast.
Hey,
I mean, me and Ben are making that our next podcast.
That's on our queue of somehow, some way, seeing if we can freaking convey that you don't have to wake up and be an asshole, especially someone's business. Like if you work for someone, that's fine. Like, you get paid. But especially if you own a business, and then you go on the inner tube, as I like to redneck call it. If you get on the inner tube and start down degrading and talking shit on somebody's business, like that's hurting that person, their family, everybody they employ.
Yeah,
Like
that's the
there's
key there. If you
yeah,
don't like me, okay, I'm not gonna lose any fucking sleep over it. But if
Yeah.
you start messing with my business, now you're messing with my employees
yep.
and their families, their
The,
livelihood.
the
And
biggest thing is the
that's when
kids.
Brock goes into asshole mode and stuff just gets
Yeah.
ugly from there. We just quit.
Well, like you
Listen,
Yeah.
said, 15 employees and then families and kids. I mean, Brock's Performance is taking care of 100 people. I mean, like they
Yeah. You
anyways,
just now
yes.
destroyed 100 people's life by being a jerk because you
yeah,
didn't smile that day and be nice.
yeah,
So,
I mean, we all
exactly.
have bad days, guys. It happens, but we ain't got to take it out on people. We can just go take
Um,
it out on ourselves,
yeah.
So,
well, listen, so we talked about how things had really rapidly changed, and
Right.
just like, you know, 10 years ago, were we going to sit here and the three of us from God knows where be able to talk to each other and live? And no, that crap it didn't happen. These days, there's more stuff going on, and it's really exciting. And I'm gonna sort of get into some stuff here that might blow you guys away. I know, Ben, you're pretty familiar with what I'm going to talk about, but before I get started there, um, when we say we need a return on investment, I had my accounting staff. We got guys. I have people bitch, Brock. When's your next YouTube video? You take too long in between. Guess what? Guess how much it cost Brock's Performance per hour to make a video? Ben, Dustin, give me a guess.
oh, I would bet that you're probably spending $150, $200 an hour at least
An
because you got
hour?
workers, camera
That's
recording,
a
and
great guess, Dustin. The actual number
It's
is $255 an hour. Now,
wow. Yeah, I was gonna
how
go
many
higher.
man hours did we have into the Hayabusa video you and I just talked about?
holy cow, a lot because it was multiple episodes, right? Like, look,
Over 100 hours, man hours.
yeah, since we're talking
Do the
about
math.
that,
Add
if
some
y'all
zero.
ain't watching Brock's Performance's YouTube videos, I'm sorry, I'm a
Over
huge
a
fan.
YouTube video that we're not selling any products over.
I know it was just knowledge. He give you free knowledge, and you're rushing the man, and he's spending money. Come on,
It's crazy. So anyway,
25 grand for those of y'all that didn't pull out your calculator. Oh, it doesn't
$25,000.
show up. It doesn't
25,000.
show up with the background on, but yeah, 25K for a video
Yeah.
Thank
that you
you for
weren't
that
trying to sell
entertainment.
anything on.
No.
Yeah.
No, we're not. Okay, the timing chain stretched on your Hayabusa. Great. We don't sell timing chains.
Yeah, $159. Replace it plus labor.
Exactly. So that brings us back to that's why it's really important for Brock's Performance to get a return on their investment from racers. If we're going to sponsor you, man, we have to make profits so we can pay our people to do the stuff that you like to do. So these days, and this is critical, if there's one thing that you guys take from this video, and you guys, I mean your listeners and Ben and Dustin, you have already figured it out with this, is you must have a social presence. The days of being the fast guy at your local track and telling somebody about a product while you're waiting in line. Okay, do you sell something? Yeah. Well, that's where you start getting into conversion rates. All right. These days, most businesses are looking at a 2 to 4% conversion rate, which means you're only going to get 1 or 2 sales out of 100 people.
Yeah.
Right? 2 to
Yeah.
4. It's crazy. So the more people that you can interact with, whether it be Instagram, YouTube, podcast, Pinterest, TikTok, it doesn't matter. The bigger base you have, the more opportunity you have to be able to generate a following that is going to buy a product. Now, how do we know that? Back in the day, we didn't.
No, but now you got data. Lots of data.
Yeah.
Today is a wonderful time because, Ben, back when you were doing sponsorship, how hard was it for you to set a budget?
Oh, it was incredibly difficult.
I remember him bitching about it.
How are you
How
going to
hard it
know?
was.
How are you going to know if you give away 25,000 and are you going to make 100? Are you going to make 125?
Right, right. That was the hardest part back then, is what you're trying to convey, Brock, is that we didn't always know. The best metric I feel like we had when I was doing it, and you know this, is that when a dealer would come to us, and a dealer who happened to race, and they'd be like, "Hey, we need so and so," and then we could pull up their account and be like, "Well, you only did this much this year, so if you get this, you damn well better do this much next year." And that was the only
That was
good
it.
metric we had, right?
There really wasn't anything else. Of course, are they a good person? We sponsored a lot of really
Right.
cool, really good dudes over the years, and that we definitely still look at that. But what if I told you that I don't get any hassles from accounting anymore?
Yeah, I believe it because I'm privy to know some of what you're gonna
All
probably
right.
discuss. So, but
So
hopefully, well, actually, it's not hopefully. This is going to be mind blowing for a lot of listeners.
I,
Mind
I,
blowing.
I think it will be because it's something that goes on every day, all the time. Um, and they have no idea it's even happening. So, just a little backstory. What we're talking about here is called an affiliate program. So, what's an affiliate program? Guess who came up with it? You're right, Jeff Bezos, Amazon. And basically, back in the mid 90s, he started a program where, and they were basically just a bookstore back then.
Right,
He
right,
started a program that said, okay, if you like this book, tell your friend. And if your friend buys this book, we will credit your account and you can buy more books or you can cash it out for money. And that's what got it going. And now, as the internet has gotten so much better, I mean, really, seriously, think about the old fax machines in the day. Our internet today is not what it used to be. You can really send a tremendous amount of information in a short period of time, but that allows things to work in real time that are going on that a lot of people don't know about. So, once again, I'm just going to talk about our Brock's Performance affiliate program because that's what I'm most familiar with. So, what is an affiliate program with Brock's? Basically, what we will do, step one, you want sponsorship. Okay, that's great. No problem. But you have to join this program because that way we can watch and monitor, are you actually trying to sell our products, or are you just putting the product or money or whatever in your pocket and not giving a damn about us? So we set you up with this affiliate program first. And what that does, it gives you your own affiliate link. So if you're looking, and I'm going to use, and I know you guys know him, and I got permission from Chris to do this, but Chris Moore is our poster child for this program. And
right.
I told him, I said, Chris, I want to talk about you. And I said, if you don't mind, I'm going to talk real numbers. He's like, do it. I don't got anything to hide.
And like, I don't
Told
think
me,
any of
We've
us
had
are,
Chris on the show. Yeah.
but
So,
I don't think any
oh,
of us are surprised by that answer either. Like,
well,
no.
he was the first one to suggest that we get an affiliates program because I was worried. I was studying SEO. I wanted what's a Brox? Man, I wanted that question answered, and I wanted to be able to tell people what Brox is. Well, in order to do that, you really have to get your shit together, get your presence. I learned about search engine optimization. I learned about a bunch of different stuff. Chris suggested affiliate program. I looked into it, and he was actually our very first affiliate, other than myself, where I ran some tests.
right, right,
But anyway, so he'll say in his videos, hey, if you like this Brock's Performance blank, click the link below and check it out. Well, when you click that link, that's his link. That's Chris's link. So now through the wonderful modern interweb,
The data.
you come to our site and it watches what you do. And if you place something in your cart and you buy it, Chris gets a 3% commission. What did Chris do? Okay, he may have said, click the link, but did he
right,
do
right.
any extra work? Did he do? He's doing what he's already going to do, right? So he gets a 3% 3% commission there. And generally, that's how we start out new racers. Here's your link. And if we see that that link is actually getting hit, we know you're doing your job. Well,
Yep.
then we'll go ahead and bust you up another level. We'll give you your own coupon code. So now Chris will say, click the link below and use more Mafia 5 to get 5% off of your order. Now, Dustin, as a dealer, you don't want us giving out a bunch of discounts and shit. 5% off of retail isn't going to kill anybody.
No.
No big deal. Well, we give up that 5%, but we also match that 5% to Chris. Now Chris gets an 8% commission if you click on his link and you buy his product. Do a little math. You're talking about $250, $300, maybe even $400 if they buy one set of carbon fiber wheels. So how does Chris get paid? Well, his affiliate account is linked directly to his PayPal account. So once an affiliate reaches a level, and for everyone, now there's two people that are on the higher level. Most everybody, once you get enough, sales at a 3% commission, it takes a while. But once you get $100, we just send you 100 and whatever straight to your PayPal account. You'll be sitting there minding your own business. You just received $112.44 from Brock Davidson, Brock's Performance. Thank you.
Good old Brock brought you a steak, baby.
And go buy race parts. Go buy fuel.
Yep.
Go buy hookers and blow. Okay, all right. We're taking a little too far there.
I love it.
Anyway, the reason I bring this up is that Chris he's an absolute poster boy for being a go-getter. And if he's been on your show,
Oh yeah.
He is a racer. He is driven. All he cares about winning, but most of all, he understands business.
That's what I was going to say. He's intelligent. He knows what he's doing.
He does. And Chris is one of our dealers. Yeah. So if somebody comes into his shop, well, he buys Brock's Performance stuff, puts it on. He makes money because he's a dealer. Of course, you guys get a better price than retail, so you can make money and pay your bills. Profit is not a crime.
Yeah, we're feeding more families here is all we're doing.
Exactly. Trying to feed your family just like everybody else.
Yep.
So that way he makes money there. Well, he's smart enough to realize, okay, well, maybe this guy from somewhere else wants his mechanic to put the stuff on. No problem. At least go check it out through my link and go get your discount and have your buddy put it on, or your mechanic put it on, or
put it on yourself. Whatever.
Put it on yourself. We're pretty good at instructions and things like that.
Yes.
So, well, he still gets paid, right? He doesn't have to do the work. He's already going to make YouTube videos and Instagram videos and Patreon.
You're taking one job and getting multiple resources of payment from it.
Yeah.
And we are not, and we don't, honestly, it's seamless. He doesn't have to do any work. All we have to do, we do get pinged. Our system will say, hey, Chris, I was doing it the first year and I was paying the guy every single damn day. I'm like, Chris, can we bump you up to $500? He's like, hell yeah. I don't care. I'd rather get 500 from you than 100 every other day. So he had no problem with it. He jumped into it feet first, and he absolutely crushed it. Now, our program, I turned it on, and I'd love to take credit for this, but I turned it on in February of 2020, right before COVID hit. I wish I could have told you I was doing that on purpose, but I didn't. And I actually went out. I looked on Instagram. I looked on YouTube. If people had our Brock's Performance exhaust and or any of our products or any Sprint filter was really a driving force behind the first one. If they liked our products, if they were a good brand representative, I reached out and said, hey, would you like to be on this program? You can make money. And some people were skeptical. Some people didn't get it. The good news is I can see the ones that don't get it. And okay, that didn't work out. Let's move on. Let's go somewhere. Let's move on. So Chris was the one who really took it. And I printed this out today because I didn't have the exact numbers. Now, since the program began, we have deposited into Chris's PayPal account. Is this backwards, or can you guys see that number?
We can see it when it gets.
I can see
Yep.
it 70,433.78.
$70,000 we have deposited into Chris's PayPal account.
That's a really
insane.
good paying salary for a
Right?
year.
Bam. and Ben and I touched on it when he was here. I think he probably remembers this part. He's starting to come out a little bit.
You were
Darnell
getting close to
come.
talking to Darnell, yeah.
Really, Chris, in the springtime, that dude's banking $2,500 to $3,500 a month from us for
Wow.
doing what he was going to do anyway. It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. But the best part, and this is back to the accounting can't argue with me here. All right, we give up 13% total off of retail. That's okay. Dustin, you make more than you get better pricing than 13% off, right?
Correct.
We're good there as a dealer.
Yeah.
But Chris has so far generated in revenue that we can prove without a doubt. I can show you every single transaction from every single person, the day, the time, their fucking IP address. I know everything about them. Can you read that number for me, Dustin?
Oh, there it goes.
Oh gosh, there's big numbers.
Oh my, it's millions. 1,432,127.02. Holy shit.
Down to the fucking penny.
That is nuts.
$1.4 million
Wow.
One
sales
dude,
generated.
we've got 50.
Wow.
Now they don't all, and so I want to bring this up because
That's
there's
number
other
one
affiliates.
stunner right there, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's other affiliates out there going, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen, you need to up your game because
Do better.
I went ahead and printed it out, and Chris is simply killing everyone else. The next big, the closest in line to him, and so you guys understand, this is all. Some of these guys may have just started a month ago or 2 months ago or whatever. Some of them have been with us a couple years now. Some of them that sucked, we fired them, and they can ask for all the free shit they want for the rest of their goddamn lives, and they're not getting anything. So anyway, the number two in paid earnings is about $9,000. That is how
Chris they can't even pay the taxes Chris has to pay.
I can tell you this, in the last 6 months, guess who is doing better than everyone except for Chris? Take a guess. Dustin, Ben knows.
I was gonna say I know, so I can't comment.
Is it his brother?
His brother.
I mean, it had to be, right?
Big country's goofy ass with that blonde mullet.
Well,
they're both doing the
Star Spangled Cowboy boots, mullet, and all. This dude is he had a hell of an instructor, and a hell of a teacher. And it's obvious these guys are sharing what they do. And the good news is it works out great for everybody. Chris is happy. Everybody's happy. Dustin,
nobody's getting harmed. I'm not harmed by it. Me and Ben's actually talked about it. As a Brock
dealer, do you care about this? No. I imagine I'm probably going to get an email saying, "Hey, Brock, I need on that affiliate shit."
I
mean, probably.
I think the dealer thing, Brock, too. I mean, that also goes back to margins, right? So like, say if most of your products were only 10, 15% margins, then but you got some really good margins and Dustin's a dealer, and I've been on the back end of things. Like there's some really, really good margins on, products at Brock's Performance that you can make good money off of. And even if it's just one single sale. So,
I mean, if I have a customer call me and go, "Hey, I can get 5 from this guy," and that guy's actually a good customer of mine, no problem. I'll give him a price. It's handled. You know what I mean? No big deal.
Yeah, we don't have a problem with that. Now, do we want you to get on the internet, tell everybody they get 20% off? No.
You got to be able to calculate.
Podcast. Why not, Brock? Why don't you want us to make because it harms the brand.
It kills the market value.
Yeah, I didn't spend, oh God, you think these are big numbers, but our inventory management system that Dustin can go on. I had a guy tell me, he's like, "Brock, He goes, I was at the racetrack, and he's a dealer. He's like, I was at the racetrack. A guy comes up, says, man, I really like your pipe. He's like, well, I'm a dealer. Would you like to, you want to buy one?
Pull your phone out.
Guys like
We can
that.
find out right
He
now.
whips out his phone. He goes, okay, well, Brock's has it in stock. If you want to go ahead and pay me, I'll place the order, and Brock will drop ship it directly to your house.
I love it.
You have to come get it from me.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. He takes the difference between what he sold the pipe to the customer for and what he paid, and bam, straight into his bank account, straight into his pocket.
So before people gets like to conclusions on like, oh, well, they're making a lot of money. So first of all, as a business, if somebody goes on my website and buys something using that damn shop pay installments, they get 7% of whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
So then, Dustin, if I give you a break, I might get 5. That's my choice, but you got to always remember that. Like, no matter what you sell, you could eat 7% of it just because their payment choice every time.
Yeah,
And that's business, right? You got to make sure you factor that. You can't advertise 5% above cost because you're about to eat a shit sandwich if you
I'll
do.
tell you what, I could have both your hearts stop if you saw our credit
Oh.
card.
Oh,
fees.
yeah. Oh, I bet. Like,
Well-
I mean, I know what I pay, and I'm nowhere near even Chris's level. So,
And I mean, that also goes back to the business thing, and you'll have a customer want to return something, and then they'll get all frustrated and like, well, that's not what I spent. Well, no shit, because that's not what I got. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like there's
yeah.
fees, there's processing fees, as Dustin was saying, like it's, you know,
$255 an hour to take your product back that we probably won't even be able to resell.
yeah.
and don't give
exactly.
me started on, okay, if you spend over, what is it, $300 at Brock's, you get free shipping, right?
Yep.
All
Yep.
right. Well, guess what? Brock paid shipping. Brock paid insurance on that shipment, which at UPS is $1.100 most of the time. Like that shit ain't cheap. So a set of wheels, he's got at least 60, $70 in shipping that he just now give you. And they don't think about that though.
During-
That was free to them. You know what I mean?
During COVID, it cost us almost $300 per wheel to get them shipped from South Africa to us.
Yeah. They
We
just, I
had-
mean,
There's only so much you can raise your prices to be able to cover giant expenses like that before your customers like, fuck that, I'm not going to buy your stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
since COVID, the biggest email thing I get is price changes. Like it happens, right? Like it's life because everything's going up. Gas is high. People want paid more. Like it's just a vicious cycle,
Well,
and
and as we're talking about all this, they're going, oh, Brock, man, y'all are making so much money. Good employees cost a lot.
and you got to take care of them good employees or you won't have them no more.
We pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for health insurance for the
Oh my
employees.
That's a whole nother level of employment. Like people want that because they have to buy it if they don't get it.
Oh,
So
yeah,
if you're
we've
covering
got-
it, that's a perk.
We've got employees that'll flat out tell you, I work here because you offer health care. Who offers health care in the damn motorcycle industry? Only the good ones, right?
Yeah,
They do offer health care, and my last job wouldn't do it, and I don't want to work for them anymore. I don't even care if I make more money, so long as I've got my health care. And the way we do it here at Brock's is, so in order to every year we're getting a 10% price increase, period.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I could raise all my prices 10% every year. Don't you,
Yeah.
Dustin?
Oh yeah.
The insurance people do that every single year, and we know it. Well, to offset that, now you've got these crazy out of pockets, family out of pocket, $8,000, $10,000, $12,000. So Jeff, once again, a really, really, really bright dude, he said, why don't we just put some money aside, and if an employee has something catastrophic go down, we will limit them to what the single payment would be for a single employee, and we'll just go ahead and put the rest in. So you have
That's just taking good damn care of your workers.
you have a baby, you have an accident, you have man, we are here to make sure everybody is happy, and our employees are happy, our customers are happy, and they wouldn't be happy without the employees. It's all just a big circle that needs to work together. So that
Brock's happy. Everybody's happy.
Brock really does wish he'd have started it sooner instead of instead of worried about ruining his hobby, because
Yeah.
the way we've got it set up now, man, we're in really, really good shape. And I got time to do stuff like this, and I really, really like it.
It's awesome. That's what life's about. Is you can't chase the dollar or chase something your whole life, and then when it runs out, you're like, where did it all go? You
Yeah.
wasted it all. Like, I mean, Ben gets on me because I get stressed out. I'm always trying to work, get it, get it, get it. And sometimes you just got to set everything down, step the fuck back, and be happy and take time with your family and just chill out. And money don't mean nothing sometimes. Like, you just have to do that.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right, Dustin.
Yeah. That was an exceptional overview of how sponsorship supposed to be, how it is, how it's changed.
I'm about to set up an affiliate link for show.
Well, and so, like I said, we took our form offline, but we do want to help go-getters that want to get into this stuff. So right now, the best way, not actually the only way, you can send an email to sponsorship@brocksperformance.com. Tell us who you are, tell us why you think you deserve sponsorship, but most importantly, man, tell us exactly what you want. Because if we don't know exactly what you want, we don't know what to take out of the budget that we set back in November. So I don't know, is you get shoved aside. I'm sorry.
Hey, sir, I don't want product. I just want a link so I can sell shit.
Perfect. I want you to have a link.
I'm the guy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh man. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Ben's writing it down right now. I got this.
I man, well, it goes back to the beginning of this whole conversation, and Dustin and I have been there, back in the day, we were wanting and struggling and trying to get sponsors because every bit helped back then.
Oh,
but to be quite honest,
we're in an expensive sport, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it still does. But to be perfectly honest, and I tell people this flat out, if you can afford to buy it, just fucking buy it. It's less work. You know what I mean? And
There's times like, I get help from companies and I'll just order something and act like it's for somebody else just because it's not worth it. It's not worth asking for it or, whatever. Just get it. Like, I need it. I got to have it. It don't matter.
And that's the other thing too. Racers, they all like to remember that it's race season in, March.
Yeah.
So, hey, can you give me some free shit and step it up? I got a schedule to keep.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes me salty. When they message me wanting a part for Friday and it's Wednesday, I'm salty. I'm like, what are you doing with your life? You knew you needed this 2 weeks ago or all winter or whatever the hell it was, but I still try to make it happen because that's how I am. But
And that's what we talk about too. That's why we started our school program. We started the sponsorship talk, really end of October, beginning of November, and we were kind of late on that. We hit it hard, I know, in November. But like you said, businesses are setting their budgets for the next year at the end of the prior year. So that
if you're eating turkey, it's time. That's what I always say.
And I mean, we all watch the news. One thing I can tell you, I've been around a while. Election years are all jacked up. So, as a business, you have to be responsible and you have to set your budget, a realistic budget that you can adhere to. If you want to continue, the ball that you've started rolling. So, some companies are just, they like I said, I'm not going to borrow money for you to go have fun.
Oh, yeah.
Well, a lot of companies just they've shut down a lot of it, and we're proud that we can continue to support our industry and continue to support the race organizations and do the things that we do for Brock's, because I mean, I love this stuff. It's in my blood. I can't get it out. I may have switched addictions from racing to building Brock's Performance and running Brock's Performance.
That's your new addiction, and that's a very good one to have because you're thinking of the future of your family.
Exactly. One of them has potential to damage your family, and one of them has potential to
well, I tell Ben this a lot. You got a legacy, right? Like, your legacy will live on if you do all you can to build it strong when you leave. That's just the way I look at it. Mine, my wife's in trouble.
I mean, I'm just Brock. Ben knows I mean, I don't. We're sitting over here in the middle of some cornfields in Beaver Creek, Ohio. We're nothing special, but we do care about what we're doing, and we care about our customers, and we care about like you guys. I'm really happy that you're taking the time to do something like this because we need to spread educational information because the world is full of such crap these days that
Right.
to get good advice and good information is something that's priceless.
If we can have these podcasts and give somebody something to laugh about, maybe learn something on the way to work, we're doing a damn good job. That's the way
I
I look
mean,
at it.
you just covered everything and the reasons why Dustin are doing this. At the onset of last year when we first started this, Brock, we had some ideas of what and why we were doing it, but it wasn't complete, But now it's full circle, and everything you just said is exactly why we enjoy doing this because a, we hope and try to promote the sport for a lot of reasons. And
Sure.
obviously, because it helps with all of our families. And B, because we're passionate, obsessed, addicted to it as well. So we don't want it to go anywhere. But, we like to have fun and enjoy it. And there could be some hot topic stuff. And we do try and touch on anything that's hot topic. But going back to what we talked about earlier in this conversation, we're not going to go out of our way to even if it's a taboo or hot topic, like we're not going to drag a business or a series through the dirt or anything like that's counterproductive. So, if we can just be good stewards of the sport and industry, then we're just plenty happy. And to be completely honest, we've said this multiple times, really the reason we kept going last year and the reason we're still doing it is because we had so many people come up to us at the racetrack and say, man, that podcast got me through a work day. It got me through a work week, a drive. Like that's really what kept us going because at the end of the day, and I mean, that's why we're so thankful for any guest that takes time out of their busy schedule, like you, Rodney, everybody that's been on the show, because time is money. And that's one thing we can't buy. We cannot buy more time. So time is,
Can't get
it's
it
in,
back either.
yeah, it's
Mm-mm.
invaluable. So, the fact that, anybody takes time to be with us, and just this takes time to do. So, it's always kind of like, hey, we're taking time from our families, from our other businesses to do this. But when we have somebody come up the racetrack and say, man, and just look us in the eye and said, this really helped me get through a shitty week. It's like that's all we needed.
Yeah,
So
we're suckers.
yeah, yeah.
We do like it though.
For
So,
sure. Well, we don't want to drag on too long because, we could all talk for hours and we definitely will get you back on another time and tell some stories and stuff. I did think of one thing I wanted to ask you though, in regards to Brock's performance. And I mean, I think most people know that, you've designed and come up with plenty of products and had those produced and whatnot. And, also you guys just sell stuff as well, BST wheels, plenty of great companies and products. But when it comes to stuff that you've designed and come up with and had produced, is there one thing that stands out to you one way or another? Doesn't have to be that it made a lot of money
I
or
think I
or
know what it
anything,
is.
but like just me personally, I'd like to get that if like what is there one thing that stands out, or even if it's two or three things that you're just like, man, I can't believe that this happened. And
There are a couple standouts.
yeah.
Uh, the first standout was, and I touched on it before, when I quit my job, they quit paying me. Right?
Right.
I didn't, I had to build Brock's performance from nothing and I didn't have a paycheck. Now, luckily my wife she had a job and made a little bit of money, but the very first time I'll never forget, and this story could get long. I don't want it to, but an acquaintance of mine brought his 1999 gold Hayabusa over to my house. And he's like, Brock, I went, and Dustin, I referenced this in a video not too long ago. You may remember, but he said, Brock, you got to ride this thing. It is absolutely unbelievable. I went 200 mile an hour on my way from the dealership to come here and show you this bike. And I'm telling you, he's crazy fucker. He did it. And, he chucks me the keys and he's like, take this thing for a ride. You are not going to believe it. He said, make sure you get down behind the fairing. It's like you're in another world. So I take this bike for a ride, and the first time I twisted the gas and that Busa took off, I knew that every engine, every bike, I was doing a lot of street race motors at the time.
Yeah.
They were all obsolete. That Hayabusa was going to make them all obsolete. He's like, "You want to take to the track Thursday?" I'm like, "Oh, hell yes. Let's go." I couldn't wait, man. I was at the track before he showed up. I had my leathers on, my gloves on as he rolled up, like, gimme.
There's
gimme,
that
gimme.
addict, guys.
Man, I jumped on that Busa and I tried to take off and it went, oh, fuck.
Ah.
Oh, what is this? Ooh, the clutch was terrible.
I knew it was going to be the
that
clutch
horsepower,
mod.
and I couldn't use it. Once it finally quit its herky jerky shit, it hauled ass, but it was too late. I couldn't even. I may have barely squeaked into the nines. It was terrible, and I'm like, okay, you need to bring this to my house right now, and he did, thankfully. And I looked at that 2-piece thing they had, and I'm like, it rattled around, and I'm like, oh, no, this is not going to work. So being the dude I am, I go to work, I jump on the lathe, I make this little ring to center everything up. And we had a TIG welding station there. I welded that thing up. Bam. Next time I went to the track, smooth as glass, ran 970 something my first pass, which was about as fast as any of the GSXRs or the other bikes that I was running at the time. I'm like, there we go. Dustin, I fed my family on clutch mods for probably about 2 years. We had a program where you sent yours in, and for $100, I welded it and sent it back, including the shipping. Thank God, I can feed my family and buy clothes and stuff. And then the other one that really stands out is, and they're not really. It's so funny. People don't. No, I won't go there. So. I raced pro mod before I got into the street tire stuff, right? And I had a car tire pro mod bike and nitrous. And man, every time every time I'd spray that thing, it just yanked the wallet out of my pocket, and I'd spend all the rest of my time trying to figure out why I melted this or burned this or did this. I somehow fucked something up every single time. And anyway, at the time, I worked at a company that specialized in leak and flow testing. So I started looking at this because I couldn't afford to fix this stuff. I was having melting heads, melt a head and send it to Bob Carpenter to get fixed.
Ooh.
Now do it 10 times in a year. I couldn't afford that shit. And especially once I didn't have a job, I'm like, no, this ain't gonna work. So I started looking at it, and by total blind ass luck, we got a job in from Honeywell, and we had to test these solenoids. Honeywell, who the hell is that? Well, they're the ones who make nitrous solenoids. So I built this test station for the solenoids, got really good at testing them, seeing how they flowed, noticed the flow characteristics and stuff. And I said, wait a minute. If these things flow like that, what's going on in my bike? My exhaust gas temperatures would vary 400-500 degrees between cylinders. Why? I had the same pistons, had the same spark plugs, had the same everything, but I had a problem. So
they weren't getting.
I started flowing my nitrous jets. I've got a flow meter that flows to 1,000th of a CFM. I promise you, I could set it up for you. I set that thing there and go like that, and it registers flow from waving my hand in front of it. That's before it has air coming through it, where I'm actually measuring the orifice diameter. But one of the things I found out was, brass jets are really soft. Nitrous is a gaseous mix of ice cubes coming at hundreds or thousands of miles an hour, and it would actually extrude hone the brass. So I'd flow jets, I'd go down the track, blow my shit up, flow my jets again, and find out that my nitrous jets had magically gotten bigger.
Oh my goodness.
They were honing it. So I came up with a different material, but we were also doing a lot of temperature chamber testing at the time. So brass also, it has a tendency, it expands and contracts at such a rate to where we were actually having differences depending on the pressure and all the a lot of the other things that were going on, because the brass would cool down, make the hole smaller, and then the nitrous would go through it, make the hole bigger again, and you ended up, I would flow test these things to where they were absolutely perfect. Got these reamers, I'm doing them by hand. They all flow perfectly. I make 2 passes, I flow them again, it's all fucked up. So I came up with a stainless material that was a lot more thermally stable. I didn't have to worry about the shrinkage. It was a much stronger than the brass. I didn't have to worry about the holes changing sizes. I'm like, this is it. This is great. This is going to be fucking awesome. I got on the track and blow my shit up again. I said, wait a minute. There's only one thing left.
Yep.
The distribution block. So
Uh-huh.
I started looking at it and I went, wait a minute. If I've got this rectangle with 4 holes coming out, it was brain surgery, right? I took all the fittings out and I just cranked the nitrous bottle. Well, guess what happens? The one down here, cylinder number 1 that I loved burning up,
Yep.
would shoot nitrous out 4 feet. This one would shoot it out 3 3/4. This one would shoot it out 3. And this poor little fella here, all the rest of that flow was going out through there, and this one didn't hardly do anything at all. What the fuck? How am I gonna fix this? So I came up with this little deal.
Uh-huh.
Okay, now I got 1 hole. They're all going off at an angle. It's all the same angle. Bam! I quit blowing my shit up. My exhaust gas temperatures went down to 50 to 75 degrees between cylinders, which is about the resolution of the thermocouple that I was using at the time. And these things took off. I originally called them advanced nitrous distribution block or something. And like I said, I sent them to Schnitz. They packaged them all up and their customers are like, and we need some of them nitrous, those shower head things. Shower head?
Yep.
Dave Schnitz, he's like, Brock, that's what they're calling. I'm like, I don't have a problem with that. It's sort of catchy. Let's go with that. So I built these and they started working. One day, this was 1999, I got a call from Mike Watt at Nitrous Express. And he said, Brock, you don't know me. I'm the owner of Nitrous Express, Mike Watt. He said, we got customers asking for your little shower head blocks. He said, there's a couple ways we could do this. He said, I could just make them. He said, but that'd make me a creep. I don't like copying other people's designs.
I respect that.
He said, but he said, I need to know if you can make these for me, but make them at a price to where when I sell them to my dealers can make profit. And that was my first real introduction to distribution.
Right.
Because he's distributing to dealers, and then the dealers are distributing to retail. Everybody wants to make money. So I'm like, oh God, man, I'm selling them for this much retail and this much to Schnitz. Now I got to sell them to this much for Nitrous Express. So we started doing it. And my mom flow tested every single one of those distribution blocks for years on my tester to make sure.
Ain't no love like a mama's love
We
right
had
there.
100%, because what would happen sometimes when we'd anodize them, you would get like a little flash of anodizing. We didn't want that to fall off and go into somebody's jet and blow up their motor. So she'd flow them. If something was funny, we'd ream them out, do whatever we needed to do, test them. And these things really took off in the motorcycle industry. Well, Mike, first he ordered like 100 sets. And not too long later, he ordered like 250 sets. Not too long later, he ordered 500 sets. Not too long later, he ordered 1,000 sets. And my
Mama's tired. Mama's real tired.
So I call him up. I'm like, dude, are there that many motorcycles that need these things? He goes, Brock, he said, have you seen the Fast and the Furious? No. All these kids are buying these things for their Honda cars, their Civics. They work great. He goes, we are selling them like they are candy.
I like candy.
Something that rolled around in my head all of a sudden took off, and man, we just sold and sold and sold and sold those things.
You know what kind of shower heads are on all my race bikes?
Well, hopefully ours.
You damn right.
We
I get the red ones and the blue ones, a little kit, and I use them for 2 stages, or I'll just use a single if I want to use the blue
Well,
one.
you
Whatever.
you don't make them anymore, do you?
We actually, one of the other big companies in the industry copied us, and it flattered me, but pissed me off.
Yeah, yeah.
So that sort of started us on the trend of not doing it. And then Mike, he's like, Brock, he said, man, we had gotten to the point where it almost didn't make enough sense for us to make them anymore.
Right, yeah.
So we gave Mike permission to just go ahead and let his vendors take care of it. And I don't need to
Yes.
wait forever.
Also, guess who was on Brock's website one time, and there was a bunch of they were 1/16, I think. They were smaller shower heads.
Yeah.
They were for some reason on the discount list of
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah, the clearance.
And
That's what I
Well,
was gonna say.
that's an inventory turn. So now
Yeah,
we're back into my system, you know.
The random hillbilly bought several of
Nice.
those.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, because I remember me and Dustin both were like, "Shit, we got to grab some of these." Like whenever we knew that you had stopped like getting them produced, and they were just on clearance, and I was like, "Man, I guarantee you, I got a couple sets that are still shrink
We
wrapped
made
on
them
my
3
shelf."
cylinders. We made them 4 cylinders, small and large. We
Yep.
made them on 6 cylinders. I used to have a picture of a dude had a Valkyrie with our
Yeah.
6-cylinder shower.
I remember, and I
hanging
have
out,
them.
proud as hell too, you know.
I still have some in stock because I'll build nitrous kits with them and sell a kit with them.
Oh yeah,
And it works.
Yeah.
It works out great, and it's smaller, and it's plenty for a bike. If they got like a 50 shot, you don't need the big,
Sure.
the big ones,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah,
works out great.
That was all getting into the lines when people started really putting big loads in there.
Yeah,
We just adapted them and made them work, and they worked great for years. And those two really stand out. Of course, there's
Yeah.
been a whole bunch of them, but I've got even my tie winder. I mean, I've got U.S. patents on that, man. I'm really proud of that. And all I was doing was solving a problem. My bike would squat, my pipe would hit the ground. I got my 60 foot. Let's make it an oval.
yeah,
Then it doesn't
Yeah.
hit anymore. Simple
yeah.
stuff.
I do miss the stainless pipe, though. I'm going to say that on the sidewinders, I miss it.
You and me both, but it just turned.
I understand.
It's a lot more competitive now. You got Voodoo out there. You got DME. Man, Chip. Go Chip. Chip is my boy. I can tell you some stories about that. At some point, you have to just say, listen, this spot is taking up this much room. These aren't moving. We can take these parts where we're turning our inventory 6, 7, 8, 10 times a year. Let's put those parts there so we can keep our dealers happy and not be out of stock.
Yeah. Chris Moore needs more BSTs on the shelf so he can sell them with his affiliate link.
And listen, I know we're running long here, but I showed you the numbers. If Chris calls me up on my cell phone and says, hey, Brock, I got a project. Would you mind helping out?
Duh.
I'm going to tell that man no.
Duh. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, how many do you need, Chris?
Yeah.
Does big country need
for
some
real.
too? Shit. I mean, it's real.
Dude's got carte blanche. He's whatever he wants, but he earned it. He deserved it.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
See, that's the
how
thing
hard
about
he's
people.
working.
They want to
Yeah.
start hating. Well, when you put that work in, then you can't hate no more. You got to do the work.
We are not. Chris is on the exact same playing field as everybody else on that list. He's just doing a much better job.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Not saying anything bad about the other guys. But
No. So one last thing I want people to do is make sure they go on Brock's Performance's YouTube channel and learn some shit, because it's my favorite place to be. If one pops up, I watch it every time. That's not me sucking up to Brock. Ben was aware of this. I do this all the time. If Brock posts a video, I watch it. I might be working and have it playing and listening, but it's on every time.
That was one of the things beforehand. I don't know if I'd mentioned that. I feel like well, there was probably some beverages, but I feel like I mentioned that. That might have been why we called him the other night, Brock.
Yeah.
But I know I probably mentioned that. Like, I know I did, because I remember actually that part. But I remember telling you, Brock, like, man, Dustin's excited about the podcast next week, because he's and look, every once in a while I peep in, try and check on you and Corey and all my friends and stuff, and watch some videos. But I mean, I wish I had a little bit more time. Yeah, but I wish I had more time to sit down and just enjoy the videos. But no, I know Dustin's always watching
the information. Like, even Brock being here, I learn a lot, right? So like the information, you cannot be afraid of information and learning. Nobody knows everything. Nobody.
No,
you got to just learn.
I learned from some of the comments from our video. And I would ask anyone who goes onto our YouTube channel to check that out. Man, look at the comments. There is a wealth of knowledge in the comments alone, because if somebody asks a question, I answer it. Me.
That's
Instagram's
awesome.
out of here. There ain't no bullshit. There's nobody.
Yeah.
You can't hire somebody to answer those questions. It has to be me. So check out the comments. And if you have any questions, I'm real easy to get a hold of, man. Social media, email, whatever. You can find me.
It's just
yeah.
pay attention, learn something.
I'm the hoodie model.
There you go. There you go. All right, man. Well, we know you got to get off and get back home. Dustin and I are luxuriously broadcasting from our homes, but we know you got to get home. So we want to thank you once again for not just taking the time with us, but for everybody that's going to listen to this and really sharing. Not only was it great information, but you opened up the books for us, and that was that was pretty cool to get some of the details out of that
And
info.
I want to thank Chris Moore,
Yeah.
because really, I mean, he doesn't got to tell anybody that stuff.
No,
But Chris, he really helps. When you pull out real numbers like that, it really puts an exclamation point on what we're talking about and how it can help other people. Like I said, people are clicking on links here and there. They have no idea that they're paying somebody, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
At some point. So
Yeah.
anyway,
for sure.
I appreciate
for sure.
it, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here, man.
Yeah,
Hopefully
yeah.
we can do this again not too long.
Yeah,
Oh,
for
we
sure.
will.
We'll get you back on, and of course, whether you know it or not, because you got other stuff you're doing. We appreciate the support of Brock's Performance, whether you knew that or not, for the podcast this year. We got some amazing giveaways that we're gonna break down to some people soon. But whether you knew that or not, we appreciate
Listen,
it.
I sleep with accounting.
That's a good place to sleep.
That is true. That is true. That is true. Awesome.
We appreciate
awesome, man.
that.
Yep. We really do. So,
Glad to
all right,
help,
buddy.
guys. Thank you very much.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
See you,
We'll
Brock.
talk soon. Have a good evening.
Bye.